Hello and welcome back. I'm currently on a very busy road and I've just kind of pulled off into the junction of a lane that joins this road. I'm going to be making my way into a public footpath and I'm going to be searching for a castle. It's marked on the map as a castle, but in all honesty I don't expect much other than the very brief hints of ramparts, because it will be Iron Age or Bronze Age. I couldn't find out much on the internet with a quick little look and see what I was actually coming to, and it would need a bit more in-depth searching. But I'll do that when I get back home, because there is a break in the weather. It's been horrendous weather down here in Cornwall, or North Cornwall. It's been windy, rainy, it's been wet, it's been miserable, and yeah, so this has been my first opportunity to get out for a little while, so I'm going to enjoy trying to find this supposed castle. So that's my first clue, and as you can see, it's hid away, but it is clearly showing that I will be heading down this track. And from my shall we say preliminary look on maps and that, it's not going to be an overly taxing hike. In fact, I will classify this as a gentle walk. I'm just beginning to kind of lose a little bit of that traffic noise already, and I'm only, shall we say, 100 metres into this actual walk. The reason I've stopped just to show you behind me is, it is actually very pleasant and it's very easy going, which is yet again very different from how I usually conduct or indeed do my actual hiking and walking. I always seem to be, shall we say, out on the actual trail good and proper. But I'm enjoying this. I haven't been out, like I said, for a good few days. And as you can see from behind me, as long as I don't get caught in one of these thunderstorm shower things that seem to be rolling off the hills, this is going to be just what I needed, and I'm really looking forward to this. Due to all that rain and the thunder showers and storms we've had, everything is damp and wet, but it's looking really lush, and all that water has done these crops in this field the world of good, and it looks like they really are shooting up. And from being green, it's kind of turning into a yellowy brown colour before it goes that golden colour. So I should imagine that we haven't got too long before we start seeing some of these fields being harvested. But this actual farm track and lane is really pleasant, and it's making for some real easy walking, and we've got some nice beech trees in the hedgerows as we walk down, and it's providing a little bit of wind protection, and it's just nice to have all those colours of the leaves above you, and there's the odd squirrel bounding around in them and scampering away when it sees me. But yeah, I'm going to push on up through this lane and wait till I get to these farm buildings. Well, the road looks like it's now descended into a track, so I'm glad I got my hiking boots on. It's actually getting quite dark and gloomy in here. It's quite a heavy canopy above me, and there's not much light getting down here, and it is really squelchy and muddy underfoot. It'd be easy to slip over, so it is requiring me to be a little bit cautious with my footing. Walking down to basically the conclusion of this track, you can see I've actually come to what would have been a ford. Now, yes, I can see you would actually have to go up over here, and it's a fairly deep wait a minute, I can just see a pathway, a bridge. I should have gone to Specsavers on this one. There you go. there it is. We'll pop up there. But this is a lovely little river, and I've already seen some fish broaching the surface. There's quite a lot of insects. But yeah, nice little pool here. But we're going to go up and have a look at that bridge in a minute. So from where I was stood down there at the water's edge, I failed to see this little pathway. I think I was too engrossed in looking at the actual river. There is something fascinating about water. But anyway, as you can see, there's a nice old bridge here. And you can actually go across it in really good order. It's wide enough, it's solid, and it's got a lot of grip. And I'll just have a pop round this side just to look at the river from over here. I mean, I'm here, I might as well have a look. So yeah, this definitely is a 4x4 kind of track. You wouldn't be bringing your family car down here, and I should imagine in winter there would be a lot of water coming down here. But anyway, I'm going to backtrack a little bit, because from my look-sees on all the maps and everything, I've got to go through a gate over here. Right, and yeah, I don't have much in the way of signal, and I'm going to be relying on maps for this now. But I'm going to be heading into this wood block. So, like I say, my map for this particular area is reasonably old. So, it's, you know, hopefully still going to represent what the wood block looks like. I.e., nothing's been cut down too drastically, or new plantations and tracks been added. It's looking like this wood block, though, is pretty much left to its own devices. And I don't think, from where I am here, it doesn't look like it's commercial either. And I would guess that's probably a bit of a quarry in there for stone, building stone, in years gone by. You can clearly see this path hasn't really been used in a long time. As for instance, there's a tree over there. Let's come down across the track. The track is flooded, and that tree looks like it's been there for possibly 3 to 4 years. So no vehicle's been down here, and I can see a few horse prints. So I'm guessing that they've been using these tracks, avoiding those trees coming down over this bank, and then continuing on their way. So I don't think I'm in any danger of bumping into forestry work or anything like that. So like I said, I'm going to get that map out now, because this is really closing in, and before it gets too dense, I really want to have a look and kind of formulate a idea of at least where I think I'm going. Well, the OS map is telling me I should be on this side of the river. That's one blessing, but the tracks here are too small to show up on the OS map system. So I was using the Cornwall County Council app, and I was able to scroll in and these tracks were visible. So I'm largely doing this by memory. I should have perhaps took a photograph of those maps and left them as a photographic picture for me to bring up on my phone, because guess what, I have no signal down here and in this forest. It's about 6 o'clock, so the summer solstice has, you know, gone, not only just recently, but that still points a finger to the fact that particularly when it's weather conditions like this and it's overcast, you know, you're on the downside of the clock, as they say. So, you know, I really want to get to a point where I think it is to have a look and see if I can find it, but it's looking so overgrown here I think this is going to be extremely difficult and possibly a failed task today. But I'm out here in the woods and I'm exploring, and it's somewhere I haven't been. So it's not all, shall we say, a failure. It's all still good. But yeah, I'm going to press on. But this is pretty much well, it is pretty much now just me exploring and seeing what I come across. It is warm though, and there's a lot of insects and annoying, shall we say, little flying bugs that are kind of, they're not biting, but you know, you're scratching your head and you can feel them landing on you. But this is getting quite a serious amount of effort to get along this track, and I'll just quickly show you. Right, I'm not at the stage I'm bushwhacking at the moment, but you can see I don't have access up there. I would have to, you know, put a lot of effort to bushwhack across there. Through there, it's just, you know, that's a machete job to get through there. So I'm left with no option but to use the trusty hiking stick and find my way across. You can see the insects in the water there if it stops rippling, and they seem to be prevalent here, and but I can actually see footprints here, so some people have been coming along here. But yeah, this is by no means the easiest track that I've been on when I've been searching for archaeological things to look at. Well, thank God I just seem to have left all that mire and muck behind me, and I've got what looks like for a little while a bit more of a footpath to follow, and it's right beside the river, so that's definitely worth me showing you that to check that out. Right, I've just come down that track here, and you can see the cleft it's followed through the V in the, should we say, skyline of the trees. But it's looking like I'm heading into forestry trees now, so I was perhaps a bit premature in anticipating this was all native woodland. Looking across the river in the very distance between all the trees, you know, in the nearby trees, you can actually see forestry trees over there. As I swing you around, there's one or two in front of me, so I'm assuming this is how it's going to start to pan out. But the track is a lot better. We seem to be losing the actual river itself, and just as I said that, I can see a stream coming down off the hillside there. This woodblock is very, very damp. It's low lying, and there's a lot of water, not just from the river, different sources of water, as this being the case. And another one just opposite me there, and that's before you get to the river, which is well over in that direction there. My plan of action is actually to follow this track that I'm on to its conclusion, and I've got a feeling that the track isn't where I want to be. Well, I know it's not where I want to be. I know the actual castle symbol is off the track, and it would be to my right. But if you can see, that means I'm clearly too low. But I have no real indication. I need to get to the end, and I can climb and work my way back this way in that woodland. If I go up now, I've no idea whether I've gone past it or I'm too far forward from it. So that's my plan of action. You know, it's a bit haphazard, but it's all I've really got at the moment. If I had my online service or took some photographs of those maps, it would solve more problems here at the moment. But hey ho, that's what happens when you chuck a hasty expedition together. It's a little bit eerie because I can see and hear loads of ferns rustling and moving as deer actually make their way through those ferns because they're quite tall. You see the ferns moving and you get an odd little flash of a tan colour, but you don't get to see the full animal. But it is, they're bounding up over the gradient there, so it's a little bit spooky because you kind of, your brain tells you want to see that little bit more of the shape to actually give full recognition to it. I suppose that's just the primal instinct of your brain telling you, you know, I really want to see a little bit more of that, so I know whether I've got to start running or I need to be getting my bow and arrow and trying to hunt it. So I've just come from that way, and just as I rounded here, you can see a trackway going up. I also have a trackway going in front of me, and working under memory, from this trackway here to that one, I should be possibly in this sort of direction, thinking about running into what hopefully I will be able to determine as the remains to this castle as it's marked on the map. But I still want to see how far this goes to get to the boundary, just to confirm it that this isn't a track that's too early in my recognition and there's not another one like this further on. Like I say, this is pretty much all an expedition now, and it's a bit of an Indiana Jones thing where you don't actually have the full map, and what you do have is imprinted on your brain, which means it's quite fallible, and you can sort of make bits and add bits due to your brain, shall we say, pulling things out of the memory banks in not the correct order or a bit scrambled. Just down there, there's some serious stock-proof fencing, but it just dips into the river just enough to allow the cattle to drink. I reckon that's what that shape's for, or why it's been done in that configuration. But I could be wrong. I'm not, you know, an upland like cattle farmer, so I could be all wrong. But yeah, I'm starting now to see signs of fields, which is kind of giving me the hint I've got to be coming pretty much close to the end of this track. Well, I'm consulting the map, and on the map there should be a path ahead of me, if not I've gone past it. A footpath, that is, not a trackway, that should actually be running north to south. Now, I should be intercepting that pretty quick if I can see it. As you've seen by this woodland, it's very rarely walked or touched by man, so it could, you know, long since been reclaimed by the woodland or forest. But in any case, if I can find it, that's going to leave me with a good starting point according to this, because there's a direct right angle between the field line and where the wood line starts, and if I was to walk down from that, I should intercept it as a castle. I've double checked, it is a square symbol and it says castle. So it is a castle, which to me in this environment, from what I'm just seeing here, I know it wouldn't have looked like this when it was possibly built, but it just seems like it's too low down and to the river. That may be because there was a water source so they had access to it, but my mind's telling me castle, slightly higher elevation. Maybe, I haven't got eyes on the actual wood block above me. But in any case, I'm going to press on. I'm going to have a quick cup of tea, quick pee, and get myself together. And I can't avoid these midges. They're everywhere in here at the moment. But anyway, I'm going to get my stuff together, see if I can find this track. If I can't, I'm going to try and make my way to the top, find these fields, and then trace along the outskirts of the woodblock till I can find this right angle. I've left it late in the day, as with everything, so I don't have forever because it will get dark and gloomy in here. And you know, I'm not going to be traipsing around here and not be able to see anything or what I'm doing. So I've only realistically got about 2.5 hours at the most. So I've got to start thinking about putting a bit of a spur on. Well, it's looking like we're getting back into more what I would call old woodland. There's a commercial in front of me, as you can see over here. But to my right, that's getting more old. That hasn't been touched in a long time in there, and that's native. Well, I've just stumbled across a track, and I'm trying to determine whether it's animal or actually or human. But I'm going to press on forward and perhaps come back to this one if I'm struggling. I can't see evidence of footprints, but this is definitely a track going up through. So this is definitely an option for me. And I can see a break in the trees up there, which suggests there could be fields above it. Well, I've just found the public footpath, and I'm staring at what I believe is that corner. The actual sign is there, and you can see the yellow cross on it. But here I am, and hopefully if this farmer comes down my way, he may be able to help me out and just point me in the right direction. So we'll see how this goes. Well, that was a very pleasant conversation. The gentleman farmer I spoke to clearly pointed me in the direction I need to be, which is this boundary wall here, which will then take me to a ruin. And it is a ruin, and he says you will probably not even be able to distinguish it from the undergrowth and that, which is disappointing, but I'm going to have a quick little look. And yeah, he said that he's got no understanding of why it would have been here, and it certainly doesn't make sense to me. You know, it is in low-lying ground by a river, and high ground is on top of it. Yet it clearly states on the map a square and a castle. So no idea. But yeah, and incidentally, I knew some of the people he knew in this particular area, so that was quite nice to have a little chat. But yeah, I'm going to have a quick little push in here and see if I can find it. It is starting to drop with light, and yeah, I don't want to be traipsing around these woods trying to find it as it gets much more darker. If you look there, you can quite clearly see there's a slope going upwards to a heavily brackened area that I've just been in, and I'll explain to you why I'm showing you this. It makes a little bit more sense. As you can see, this is a very steep gradient, and it then drops down and it goes into a re-entrance, and it goes up through the valley on the opposite side. And there is a steep bank all the way around here to the path I was walking on just down over there. And if I bring you around and walk up here, you can see it kind of drops down to the river all the way around here. But what I'm interested in showing you is what I believe is kind of part of the remnants. Now, I think this would have been better to come here during the winter months, or drier parts of the winter months, when all the bracken has died back. But as he kind of said to me, you're not going to see much except the very outlines of the wall, which I believe you're looking at here, all along here, if you can see it there. All this built up area is stones, part of that as well, coming across here, and it goes around in a perfect circle. And like he said, perfectly how he explained it. Just starting to fall down, but you can see just over there that you can start to see the shape. And if I bring you around here, you can see another part of wall that completely goes around here. Stone, and it goes all the way around there. I've got to watch where I'm going that I don't trip. And if you look here, you can clearly see, you followed that around, you know, the semicircle right the way around there, where all this bracken is growing out of. You've got a boulder and earth bank all the way along here, perfectly going in a semicircle around there. So I believe this to be the actual old fort, or the remnants of it, or castle, that is suggested on the map, and it kind of fits the location as well. So that's a really excellent find. You can clearly see, you know, this actual stonework and how thick it was, because it's all the way out to here, so that's a good 4 feet thick there. And like I just said, we were looking up on this, it skirts right the way around, and as you can see, that's impenetrable, and I'd have to do some massive bushwhacking, possibly for a week, to fully trace the outset. I need to come back during the winter months. But in any case, you can clearly see here the wall there in itself again. If I come down through, I mean, this is really special when you think how old and what this possibly was used for. And coming back around now, and you can see the actual shape of it as it goes round this particular bank. That's all stone in there. It's granted, it's pretty much what I expected to see. Like, you know, I only expected to see the remnants of possibly a few earth mounds, and you can clearly see that there's the a purposely built round structure that is built from stone. Time has obviously played its toll, but boy, what a special place! What a special place to come here and actually find this. I mean, I was looking at this on a map. As the farmer described, nobody comes here. You know, they've had people in the past come to look at it, you know, professional people to map it and survey it. But as you can see, nobody comes here. And I can only imagine what actually history and tales, you know, would be able to come from this place if those stones could talk to me. But I'm losing light, and I've now got to make my way back, because according to the farmer I spoke to, I've still got a fair little way to go, and I've got to plod the lanes back to my car. I just couldn't walk away, and I'm trying to skirt round another side and perimeter or circumference, go around a bit more, and I may have some little bit more access around here. But it's exactly the same thing as what we were looking at just down there. Another series of stonework here, you know, which obviously was part of the actual structure on this actual bank. And you can see it's almost like got ramparts leading up to the stone there. But I'm going to work my way around here and just have a quick little look. I'm not sure if this is possibly deer tracks, but yeah, you can see that it rises up here and it goes all the way around. You can just, if you look here where I've just come, you can see where it rises up, goes around there, and it's doing the same all the way along there. I just can't get that close to it. I'm going to give it one last go. I've got to while I'm here. There. Hang on a minute, I don't want to break my neck. There you go, look. And this is possibly even better. You can see the stones laid on top of each other. There. All the way up. There's a tree there, a root there. But my God, how special is this? As I've just said, this is absolutely, you know, classic to be in the presence of something this old and this significant. And it was significant to somebody at some point. I mean, it can't be understated that this is just really special. You can only just guess what these walls have seen and what went on. There is obviously the debris of all of it falling down over the years, which is sad. It will be lost to time, memory and history at some point. But I'm glad I've come here and seen this. Absolutely special. Right, I'm just walking back to the footpath there, and I am totally buzzing that I found that, and totally overwhelmed by the fact that nobody really would be seeing that except for just a few handful of people these days. And yeah, I can't help but think, you know, what would have happened here, why it was here, you know, what made this little patch here become a military or a significant outpost which would need some sort of defence, and possibly at what time period. And I'm now buzzing to go home and try and do some research. You know I said I had very little success to start with, but I really want to look into this now. Just another mystery that you can find yourself, and when you do, you're left with that inquisitive mind. It just takes you away from everything. And like I said, it might seem silly, just a pile of rocks, but when you're in places like this where it's totally lost to time and history and distant memory, you kind of just want to kind of jump back to it a little bit and just delve back and look back into the distant past. Well, I'm just consulting the map here at the minute, and yeah, I'm just sat down on a log here, just admiring the view. That's where the footpath is I got to go, and I should be making my way into some fields along a track, and then to another group of farms, and then out to lanes and walk back to my car. But I'm going to take some coffee here at the moment and just enjoy this before I leave this woodland behind. So yeah, I fully understand if anybody watching this might think castle and expected to see that fairy tale castle you see in Shrek or anything like that, or in the Hollywood movies, but that's the reality of what we're left with in our time. But there is an air about this place. There's still that heavy, intense feeling that those group of stones there had purpose and significance, and it wasn't just civilian like infrastructure like farms, houses and things like that. There is a real sense that that place had purpose, and it was stamped on this environment. And I'm looking around here, and it still has that air that it's casting over this little bit of the woodland and forest. It'll be dark in a moment, and if there is any such a thing as supernatural spirits or paranormal activity, who's to say it wouldn't be here? Because like I said, even now you can still feel that heavy, intense feel. I know people would say you could walk past that and you wouldn't know it there and you wouldn't feel it, but it's like, once you know it's there and you've seen it, there's that real gravitation. Like I said, it was hard for me to leave. I just wanted to have a look around and actually feel it and absorb some of that energy and kind of awe. It was just awe-inspiring that I'm actually now seeing something that most people won't even know that it even exists here. Yeah, totally privileged, totally honoured, and it's just that feeling of connection with the distant past, and I'm just left wondering who was there and what went on. It's just normal, and like I said, I'm going to finish up this cup of coffee, then I'm going to plod out some more miles. Part of this is the hiking in. It's not easy. There's no reward for just tipping up in your car, rolling out the car door, walking 100 yards, and there you are. You have to put the effort in to get that reward, and I feel totally blessed and honoured that I was able to see that. I'm very quickly going to just touch on kit because it's enabled me to get here. I've got a good solid pair of boots, heavily polished. They do have the internals that wrap around so no water can come in. I'm wearing a pair of jeans underneath a pair of waterproofs, light waterproofs. I don't usually wear jeans. I usually wear combats if I'm walking and hiking, but this wasn't a distance one and I'm not in severe heat conditions. I've got a old PE top that I had from my previous career, and it's a breathable one. It lets sweat in and out. It's akin to a running or a sports top type thing. It lets sweat evaporate. I've got waterproof jacket and an ordinary jacket, and I do have a hoodie in there should it get cold. I've got a map and a compass, which I've actually needed on this, as I've shown you, and it's aided me. I still don't have no signal, although my compadre I was just talking to earlier, he had full signal, so I suppose that could be down to the phone or network that you're using. But in any case, like I said, I've relied on a map and compass, and on top of that I've got some coffee, some snacks, and I've got a head torch should things go south. You can never know if you're going to get lost. My wife has a rough notion of where I'm going. I didn't give her a full detailed plan because I never really have one, but I did let her know the rough area I was going in. I've never been here, didn't know what to expect. Trip over, hit your head, you don't know what could happen. So she had a rough idea where I'm to. Yeah, and I've got a rucksack that's carrying it all, and I just wish I brought some insect repellent because boy, I'm being eaten alive here now. I kind of thought they would be dying away, but there's a mist and a wetness in the air, so I guess that's what they like. But I'm really going to smash this back now and get on the move because even though I know I'm not going into any more forests, I'm leaving this behind now. I've still got to get to my car, and that's going to be through some lanes. It should be quite pleasant in the very late evening, so I'll catch you later. Yeah, I'm very quickly going to let you have a quick look around at what I'm seeing here, and it's absolutely gorgeous. You can see the grey in the sky that tonight there's going to be thunderstorms and rain, but I think I'm actually in that sweet spot between it all, and there's still enough brightness in the sky to make it really pleasant. The air has gone still, and yeah, it's a really pleasant evening. I don't know what the time is, but it's got to be approaching possibly 9 o'clock, and that's going to leave me enough time because I'm going to be heading out into lanes, so there's going to be no challenging navigation there. I'll just let you have a quick look from where I am before I head up over this hill, and you can see how beautiful this little spot is. And this is the corner of the wood block that I'm leaving. You can see the granite boulders there. This is Bodmin Moor. We're actually on the Bodmin Moor itself, in all intents and purposes. Just slightly in a lower elevation. And as you can see, those clouds have that air of thunder and rain about them. And I'll bring you around to the woods. And there's the track we've just come up. And we're leaving that wood to the animals and whatever else is in there as it gets dark. And you can see the wood is starting to come to life with all the nighttime activity that takes place in the woodland. You can clearly see where we got to go, the footpath, and it makes its way up through this farm. So I'm following the actual signs, and to be honest with you, this is pretty well signposted at this particular part of the actual track. So yeah, this should help me get back to my car a lot faster. Just plodding through open countryside, and where we were in the valley, you can start to see the very beginnings of the moorland there. If you went out over that, you'd be on the moor, and then you'd be able to make your way to the true higher parts of Bodmin Moor. You can hear that wind and you can see those clouds. I'm so blessed to have got that that actual hike and exploration done. I'm looking at those clouds and you can tell they're really heavy. Yeah, I don't care if I get wet now. I just feel so absolutely blessed to have found that castle, or what was left of it, and I feel like I've picked up some pretty good vibes from it. I know people would say that's a little bit you know, dramatic, but I don't know, it just felt really special to be there. So yeah, I've got to hit this gate. I know I said I don't mind getting wet, but I'm going to try and avoid it. Right, I'm plodding out this mile and a half back to the car on these lanes, and it's a pleasant slow walk. I'm not in any real desire to push myself now. It's just a gentle plod. But I've been thinking about why there would be a defensive structure there, and why it's so low. I've got a feeling there was a crossing across that river between two different kingdoms or client kings. It could have been that, I don't know. It's you know, like a defensive position for that river crossing there. And you know, Cornwall at one point was divided between multiple kingdoms in itself. So could it have been that? I don't know, but it's ignited a lot of questions, so I'm going to try and scour the internet for those answers. But a very quick search yielded nothing, but there has to be something about it there. So yeah, I'll talk to you in a moment. Well, that was a interesting drive home as well. As soon as I got back to the car, it started spitting with rain. It didn't go full pelt, but as I was driving home, you could see those black clouds chasing me all the way. I don't live very far away from that particular area, no more than a few moments. And as I swung around the last corner to come into my little village, quite spectacularly, a big dog fox ran across the road, stopped, looked, and then dived in the hedge. And it just added that little bit of a special finale to that little expedition or hike in the woods, and it just made it feel that little bit more special. You know, I don't know why, but it just did. And I've come back in and I'm really buzzing, and I'm feeling really good about that particular walk, hike, expedition, time in the woods and finding that castle. It has ignited a lot of questions for me. You know, and I'm going to have my tea because I'm having a little, shall we say, celebratory drink of some very pleasant red wine. I possibly won't look on the internet tonight, but I should definitely do so over the coming days. And yeah, that was, you know, a really pleasant time, and it's left me feeling really good. But on that particular note, I would just like to say that outside everybody's back door, there is a little adventure waiting for them. You don't have to go too far, and you don't have to spend shed loads of money. You know, there is a little adventure outside your back door. So yeah, that being said, I'm going to call this a day. This is Andy from Folklore Hiking Sticks. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me on that little expedition. It was somewhere I've never been to, or been to, shall I say, and it was totally all an adventure and me trying to find it. It paid off, and yeah, as you can see, I'm totally buzzing for it. So yeah, all the best.